Year 1864. The world of science was buzzing with new discoveries. Charles Darwin's theory of evolution was sparking debate across Europe. Among the scientific minds of this era was a British zoologist named Philip Sclater. Sclater wasn't just fascinated by animals. He was puzzled by strange distribution of certain species across the globe. One particular animal caught his attention: the lemur, found in abundance in Madagascar. These curious creatures also seem to have ancient relatives in India and even as far as Southeast Asia. But there was a problem. These regions are separated by thousands of miles of ocean, and there was no logical explanation of how lemur could travel such distances. Sclater proposed a radical theory to explain this mystery. He imagined a wide landmass stretching from what is now Madagascar across the Indian Ocean, connecting to southern India and even parts of Australia. He named this lost continent Lumeria after the lemurs that sparked this curiosity. This land, Sclater suggested, had only existed above water, but had since sunk into the depths of ocean, leaving behind scattered islands and isolated species. His theory was embraced by some scientists at that time, and for decades, Lumeria remained a popular idea in both scientific and occult circles. But Sclater's theory wasn't just a curiosity of Western scientists. In the deep south of India, the Tamil people have spoken of lost land, Kumari Kandam. According to ancient Tamil literature, Kumari Kandam was a vast continent south of India, where a flourishing civilization once thrived. The land was said to have been swallowed by the sea, and with it, an entire chapter of human history. The idea of a lost Tamil civilization submerged beneath the Indian Ocean is similar to Sclater's Lumeria. Could these two be the same? Could modern science and ancient myth both be pointing out to the same forgotten truth? Today, we'll explore the fascinating connection between Philip Sclater's theory of Lumeria and the ancient Tamil legend of Kumari Kandam. Let's first dive into the ancient Tamil texts that mention Kumari Kandam. These texts are not just myths, they are an integral part of Tamil culture and history. The most famous reference to Kumari Kandam comes from the Silappatikaram and Manimekalai, two of the greatest Tamil epics. In these texts, Kumari Kandam is described as a vast and fertile land located to the south of present-day India. It was a land of mountains, rivers, and lush forests. The geography of Kumari Kandam, as described in this text, is fascinating. There were high mountain ranges known as the Kumari Hills, which formed the backbone of the land. These mountains were home to numerous rivers that provided water to the fertile plains below. The landscape of Kumari Kandam was rich and diverse. It had wide plains where agriculture thrived, dense forests filled with wildlife, and coastal regions that supported thriving maritime trade. The people of Kumari Kandam were known for their advanced civilization. They had well-planned cities, a sophisticated system of governance, and a rich cultural heritage. The kings, mainly the Pandyans, ruled Kumari Kandam. They were wise and just. They were said to have built great palaces, temples, and public works. Under their rule, the land prospered and the people lived in harmony. But all of this changed with a great flood that engulfed the land. According to Tamil tradition, the sea swallowed Kumari Kandam, leaving only memories and legends behind. This great flood is a recurring theme in Tamil literature. It is said to have destroyed not only the land but also the ancient Tamil civilization that once thrived there. The survivors of Kumari Kandam are believed to have migrated northwards, bringing with them their culture, language, and traditions. Now, let's move from ancient Tamil legend to 19th century science. Philip Sclater, a British zoologist, was puzzled by the presence of lemurs in Madagascar, India, and Southeast Asia. How could these animals be found in such distant places when they couldn't possibly have crossed the vast ocean that separated these regions. To solve this puzzle, Sclater proposed the existence of a lost continent, which he named Lumeria. According to Sclater, this continent was once stretched from Madagascar across the Indian Ocean to southern India and even parts of Australia. He believed that Lumeria was a land bridge that allowed animals, including lemur, to migrate between these regions. Sclater's Lumeria was more than just a landmass. It was a thriving continent with its ecosystem and species. He imagined Lumeria as lush, tropical land, rich in flora and fauna. But over time, according to his theory, this continent sank beneath the ocean, leaving behind only traces of its existence in form of islands like Madagascar and the scattered population of lemurs. Sclater's theory of Lumeria gained popularity among scientists and public alike. It was even embraced by occultists and theosophicists who believed that Lumeria was the home of an ancient advanced civilization that predated all known human history. But what does science and archaeology say about all this? Have we found any solid proof that Kumari Kandam or Lemuria ever existed? Over the years, there have been various underwater explorations in the Indian Ocean. Some researchers have claimed to discover structures resembling ancient buildings deep beneath the waves. These findings have sparked excitement, suggesting that perhaps a lost civilization might indeed be buried under the sea. However, these claims are highly controversial. Many scientists argue that the so-called structures are actually natural rock formations, not evidence of a lost city or civilization. The biggest paradox here is that while the stories of Kumari Kandam and Lemuria are fascinating, there is no concrete scientific evidence to prove that these lands ever existed. Geological studies have shown that the Indian Ocean floor is relatively stable. The oceanic crust in this region doesn't show signs of having once supported a large sunken continent. If a landmass as vast as Kumari Kandam or Lemuria had existed and then sank, we would expect to find clear geological evidence, like remnants of the land or unusual rock formation. But these kind of evidence is simply not there. Moreover, modern science has shown that the theory of Lemuria was based on outdated knowledge. When Sclater proposed Lemuria, scientists didn't know about the plate tectonics, the idea that the Earth's crust is divided into large plates that move over time. Today we understand that continents drift and the landmass do not simply sink entirely into ocean. This understanding makes the idea of a lost continent like Lemuria or Kumari Kandam highly unlikely. Let's also consider Zealandia, a real submerged continent located in the Pacific Ocean near New Zealand. Zealandia is about 2/3 of the size of Australia, but it hasn't completely sunk. Instead, much of it remains above sea level, forming the islands of New Zealand. Scientists have studied Zealandia extensively, and it serves as a strong example of how a large landmass behaves when it becomes partially submerged. If Kumari Kandam or Lemuria had existed, they would likely have left behind similar landforms, small islands, or other geological features above sea level. But we find nothing like this in the Indian Ocean. The lack of evidence hasn't supported people for believing in these lost lands. For many, Kumari Kandam and Lemuria are more than just myths. They symbolize a lost golden age when civilizations were more advanced and interconnected than we can imagine today. But without scientific evidence, these lands remain in the realm of myth and legend. So why haven't we found Kumari Kandam or Lemuria? One strong reason could be that these lands never existed as physical places. They might have been symbolic or metaphorical, representing idea of lost knowledge and civilization, rather than actual locations. Another possibility is that if these lands did exist, they might have been much smaller and less significant than the myths suggest. Over time, the stories could have been exaggerated, turning a small island or region into a vast continent in the minds of storytellers. Or perhaps the evidence is still out there, buried deep beneath the ocean, waiting to be discovered. But based on our current scientific understanding, it's more likely that Kumari Kandam and Lemuria are powerful legends, captivating our imagination and reminding us the enduring power of the myth. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the mysteries of Kumari Kandam and Lemuria. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more explorations into ancient myths, lost civilizations, and everything in between. And if you are interested in learning more about lost lands, be sure to check out my video on the legend of Atlantis. You can find the link in the description or by clicking here. This is Harry signing off. Stay curious.